Okay, so can we make a start? Can I welcome everyone to the meeting, to the November FES meeting? Are there any apologies?
Yes, I've got apologies from Councillor Wildman.
Are there any declarations of interest? No. Item 4, the minutes of the last meeting. Would someone like to move them or otherwise? Will be seconded. Are there any comments on the minutes? No. Can I see all those in favour of the minutes? Thank you.
Sorry, you proposed. I missed that.
Jonathan. Public forum. There's no members of the public here and there are none online. Exclusion of the public just relates to item 13 and the additional item, which is 14, which is going to be tacked on to the end of that. Item 7, the financial update. Have you any comments on this, Gina, before we start?
So these were done by Steve, and I haven't actually had a chance to look through them properly since I got back off leave. But it looks as though we're on track to obviously keep within budget. There's no obviously any costs that will affect obviously this budget are possibly coming in the items later on the agenda. Other than that, I don't think we have anything that's way off course. Has anyone got any questions?
One question from me. We talked about the blues last time round. So I'm looking at that blues 22 line, and how are the numbers going to settle down then? Because we've got a budget of 204 and we've got a spend plus commitments of 156. So looking like that, there's another 50 grand potentially to come in. But is there actually any cost to come in really?
No, it is obviously we need to go through and finalise that, and because some of the income for that was based on the earmark reserve, which was brought in. As we were under budget to what we thought, we now need to move the remaining budget into expenditure this year for next year's festival, if obviously we decide that it goes ahead, but that will be needed for any expenditure this year. Yeah, but what we will do is, as we normally do, we raise a different cost code, and we'll put the budget in.
Yeah, and then it would become, if there is a 23, that surplus then would tide over the budget between now for the 23 event up to the 31st of March, because obviously some of it'll fall into financial years, it always does, doesn't it? So it would come out of what is left of this year's rather than find some more money.
Did you say some of the other numbers will be in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? So would someone like to move A, B and C under item 7 then? Seconded. All those in favour? Okay. Item 8, first draft budget 23-24.
Unfortunately, as I only just come back off leave, I haven't had a chance to finish the first draft. What I can tell you is, I mean, obviously things are changing every day, that it is looking like it's going to be over 700,000. That's definitely the direction it's going in. Obviously, as we know more when we put final figures in, we will know more. The main things in there, obviously, you've got your roof. Basically, if we do the loan for a roof replacement, that obviously makes a difference to the figures and obviously the repayments. So there's obviously that to consider. Having said that, which I will come to later on in the update, we do have some additional roof work to do on the annex. So that's obviously come up. But that's immediate, needs doing as soon as possible. I think other things are grounds maintenance. I think for the moment, I've just left. Last year at this stage, I predicted that it would be a 25% increase. At the moment, I've still stuck those figures in. Obviously, we won't know the value until the tenders actually come in. But yeah, I'm expecting it to be somewhere similar. So, and the other thing, the main difference in the budget is putting the blues back in. So obviously it's another 50-60 grand on top of what was previously budgeted for. So that's where your difference comes in. What I can do is when I've had a chance to finalise a lot of the figures, some of it will feed in from tonight's meeting. I can email my spreadsheet out so that you can see how it's coming together. I think I've done that previously, which will give you an idea of the way it's going.
Howard?
Oh, excuse me. A copy of it, not the original, because then because that can set things all over. Actually, we weren't that far off 700,000 last year. We were only 20,000 off. So when you say over 750?
I'm hoping it's going to be more 720-ish.
What I'm trying to get at is it is manageable with juggling is the wrong word, but moving stuff about from here to there. But obviously we are going to be dependent on what comes back with the tenders. If they come back as at 3 times what they were 3 years ago, we've got to look at it and think about it. But until we've got firmer figures, I think we'd be wrong to panic, but we'd also be wrong to say, oh, it's going to be all right because it's only 50,000 or whatever. So I think we just got to be aware that there are things coming up that we've probably got to do, such as this roof and that roof and anything else that begins to fall apart. The building's 150 years old, so we're a lot less than that, and bits of us, bits of me fall off quite in the morning, but there we are.
I think it's going to be a case of when we do have the full figures, possibly moving some things around a little bit and possibly either not doing something or doing something differently, and rest of it's the difference between the two figures at the end of the day is going to end up being whatever the increase in the precept is, isn't it? It's basically, I shouldn't say as simple as that, but that's at the end of the day, we've got to balance it. So it's a compromise between increasing the precept a little bit, juggling things around and doing things differently, or in fact not doing something, and we've got to come to that decision. But we can't come to that until we know what the final figures are. I think it was about 680, weren't it? The preset last year. Yeah, I think so. So it isn't a massive figure away. You know, it's not 100 mile away.
Yeah, it was just under 675.
Yeah.
There also is obviously the option of looking at your earmark reserves and bringing some of that money back in.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, increasing. You've got a bit of a payoff there. Obviously, you put money aside for things and earmark it for certain things to be spent. So it's how you look at that as well.
That's what I meant by juggling. That, you know, we can borrow some of that this year and then pay it back, or whatever. Sorry, if I can just divert things before I forget it. When at lunchtime, it's probably gone now, they're actually taking down the Adshel bush shelters, and we accosted the people who were doing it, who said they're going to be replaced with something simple, with new ones with adverts on. So Euroshell, it said on them, but say that, just thinking of that, I thought of bus shelters, and so they may be appearing soon.
They can have some more if they want to put adverts on them.
Is that just the ones owned by Primeside? Yeah. But they're obviously, I mean, they haven't done anything maintenance wise for a while. So yeah.
Are we past the point of where we can increase the precept? As in, I was under the impression a few years ago that we could only do it for so long before we were banned from doing it. Us and Pendle. Unless I've got that wrong, can someone click?
It was basically that district councils were only allowed to increase theirs so much, and they were going to roll that down to town councils as well. As yet, they haven't done it. So at the moment, town councils can increase by more than that percentage. But they did say that eventually they will bring it in. So it's just a case of when.
Yeah, well, as of yet, they haven't included us in those restrictions.
We may find out in 16 days' time.
Well, whereas it stands at this moment, we are not tied down with those restrictions. We might be by March, I don't know, but as it stands now, we're not.
You would think they'd give more of a
You think they give more notice?
notice, though, if you obviously people are planning budgets and things, that you'd think that they wouldn't do it last minute, and you know, and everyone's budgets are suddenly out of the window.
It'll be there'll be some leeway for social, what do you call it? The extra, the people who are responsible for carers and what have you, they could put, the county council could add an extra 3% that they could put on for that. So that, there may be that sort of thing in it. Well, we don't know.
What I can't remember is when they actually brought it in. Initially, Pendle was in a similar position to us, and they could increase it what they wanted. And then they wrote the restrictions in with the 2%, which then eventually became 1.99 for some silly reason. When that was brought in, I don't know whether they dropped it on them 1 November and said this applies from next March, or whether some longer term notice was given that they were going to do it. I don't know. I can't remember how it came in. I would have thought they would have given longer notice. Yeah.
I thought it was like, the budgets have switched. The budget, I hope, used to be April, March, April. It wasn't for that, it was for 12 months hence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if there's anything that, it won't be this.
Yeah. 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 But they may give shorter notice. I don't know, because if you think about it, if they gave a year's notice and said after next year you can't increase it, everybody would start off nearly doubling it, wouldn't they? So I don't know. I don't know how they'd handle that, but hopefully it won't happen to us before next March. So is that it for the draft budget? Yeah. Can we note that? And move on to item 9, which is the grounds maintenance tender update.
Right, so this is just to update you that the tenders were placed on 2 contracts finder on, I think they actually went on contracts finder on the 19th of October. And they were sent out to various different people, those who have quoted before and a few additional people. Some were sent out by email. If we didn't have emails, they were sent by the post. I also asked any if they wanted paper copies to let me know, then I could send them along. I have had, or I know of 7 different companies that are quoting for either some or just elements of it. So yeah, it's 30th of November. And I think, Jonathan, you mentioned there might have been someone else that might have been interested.
Yeah, that came through when you were on leave, and I forwarded it to Nathan.
Right.
And no, I think Nathan has contacted them. That's the impression I got from Nathan's email response to me.
Oh, okay.
I think he has written to them.
Right.
I think he sent them the link to all the contracts on website.
Right. Yeah. Somebody wrote to me at my place of work and said, "Can we tender for your grounds maintenance?"
Not mine.
And, I just thought, well, yeah, you can do, but also I sent the details to Nathan, so
He did do it because you
Local as well,
copied
quite
me
local.
in, didn't you? You copied me in, and I think I replied saying thanks.
yes,
Yes, but
right.
yeah, he has sent it.
Right. Because I think they're quite local, and they seem what they were saying to me is, the stuff that they could do is exactly what we're looking to tender. So
I have been contacted by some smaller gardening sort of outfits that are interested in tendering for the wall garden, just the wall garden. So
I think it's good start off.
Hmm?
I want to contend with that into doing the whole thing.
at the moment, I don't know. They've confirmed that they're going to submit tenders, but not what for. No. That's the reason why we split it really, to give more options and give other people a chance to you know, quote for the work.
I think it might work out better if it's split, because there might be someone who is really good and wants to do a particular job and is really interested in it, but doesn't do something else. And it can put, if you put it all together, it just puts them off, doesn't it? We won't want to do it. Just looking forward on this, they come back on 30th of November, and then they've got to be looked at and scrutinised, and probably you and Steve will end up with that task. And then they'll have to go to FES, and then they'll have to go to full council for a decision to be made on the recommendation that comes from FES. Is the one FES in December going to be enough to make the decision to take it to full council, or because it's only about 5th, isn't it, of December, something like that? So it isn't long after the deadline. Or do we want another one as well?
I think we've actually put in the tenders that they will be opened by the town clerk and witnessed by members of the FES committee.
Right.
So I think, as we did last time, I think it was done sort of together at the town hall initially. I would probably suggest maybe holding a meeting just for that purpose. Just
To
for
open them, yeah,
No, I mean after they've been opened,
yeah.
to get a meeting with everyone, all the FES
Yeah.
committee, just to.
That's what I'm wondering,
Yeah.
if we're planning ahead, whether we do need to slot another meeting in, because when it gets into, it's going to be December, isn't it? And there's only 3 weeks in December because of Christmas, isn't there? So if we're going to try and slot a day in, we need to be planning where and when we're going to try and slot it in.
You need at least a week or two to analyse attendance.
Yes,
Yeah,
So then you need
And
to
then-
prepare.
Yeah. yeah.
So it's been like 3rd week of December, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, I think full council's about 20th, isn't it? It's just before Christmas, just before Christmas break. So with FES being first
it?
week,
is it not the 16th or something?
is it? I don't know.
I can't. Whatever the Tuesday is.
It's 20th,
Has
isn't
anyone
it?
got a calendar? Is it 20th?
Yeah, I think it's 6th, and then it's 6th at FES and then 20th. Yeah,
I think it's our last day is the Wednesday, so it's the day before. Yeah.
I think that's extraordinary, yes, me, probably on my Thursday or Tuesday
Mhm.
or Wednesday.
I mean, obviously, depending on how many we get, if we get quite a lot, then it's going to take longer to go through them, isn't it? So.
Have you got a spreadsheet set up to bang the figures in, so it's fairly easy?
Not at the moment, but obviously we will try and get that together. We have the marking on each of the tenders that says what percentage is going to go to what. So obviously that's what we're going to work from. But it's just devising a scoring system, obviously, that fits in with that.
I've got the marking sheet from 3 years ago, which was Collins, but I am not sure that the weightings were exactly right. You know, because certain things are weighted over others, aren't they? And I'm not sure that the weightings were right, so it might give us a bad steer. It might be better.
Well, I know we have changed some of the weightings.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on what contract it was as well.
There's an allotment of 13th, but we could move it.
Definitely get a chance to straight on the 30th or first, and then score them once.
That's what I mean. And if we open them on the day after 30th, and FAS meetings on 6th, it's not giving Gina and Steve a right lot of time to go through it all and give us some figures and say, this is our
This is our,
recommendation,
yeah.
and this is this and this is that.
So that's not, there's 2 meetings now.
Obviously, we don't know whether we're going to get tenders for everything. We may get some areas that aren't tendered for.
Have you got the tender pack that you can email us? So I can look at it and try and help devise an analysis document.
Yeah, I can send you what I sent to some of the contractors.
Because what I would do is look at it. Then. Can't do it on a daily basis anyway.
Right,
It'd be helpful.
that would be helpful, yeah.
I mean, obviously, you understand that more than most of us do.
Yeah, you probably see it. Yeah, whereas obviously,
Well, I need to see the documents. So that's put together the analysis.
yeah, I can, if I send you them on email, then yeah, I'll do that. Actually, they were, yeah, the documents, you may actually be better just going on the website, because I think they're too large to send via email. I did struggle. Are they? Yeah,
Is that what you meant?
yeah. It's just, well, they're on our website and they're on Contracts Finder, or they're on. It's the same information.
I sent you a link to that when it went live.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But if you're prepared to look at it from that angle, Jonathan, I mean, if you want any of it printed out, but you can have it printed out, can't you?
Yeah, I can print it out for you if you want.
No, it's okay.
No.
I'll put it on the.
Mhm.
On the computer, you can just print it alone, or on the computer, I'll put it on.
All right. No, that'd be really helpful.
That's Jonathan doing his day job. Is there anything else on grounds maintenance update? So we're going to change the date of that meeting then?
Move it to the week after.
No. Tentatively put it in for the 13th, but leave was it the 5th, 6th, there. So that if we needed 2 meetings, there's one.
What do we do with allotments? We're having to move from 13th then. Now we're going to move allotments to 6th.
Well,
I don't know.
no, well,
There'll be the standards of the town all the way to the last that's involved.
Yeah, there'll be the policy which I wanted to do for this meeting but didn't have a chance to do it. The grants policy that will be on there. Other than that, unless obviously something comes up.
Well, let's move allotment at 6th. We'll go at 13th. If we want the 6th as well, rather than cancel allotments, there's nobody on allotments that's in this meeting. They can have allotments meeting downstairs if they want, and we can still have ours up here on 6th.
Oh, they could have it in committee room.
Or they can have it in committee room. We can have both meetings. We've enough rooms, don't we? And there ain't that many people just at allotments. And if there is, they can go downstairs. Yeah,
There's enough rooms.
I just don't want to run out of time.
We don't need this extraordinary meeting, because it's going to influence the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that wants to be early month, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It wants to be as soon as possible
Soon as we
after
can.
30th once
as soon as we get to a position where we,
Once it's last force on day, what have to be in for at noon on 30th?
yeah,
So any time after that,
after that.
we can open them, can't
Will you email me the Colin waiting list?
we? Yeah. Yeah, I can't understand them, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's half the time. Or 13. Wait, this is an invite.
I will do, yeah.
Right, so if we move on then to item 10, town hall maintenance.
Right, yeah, as I previously mentioned, you may have noticed the big scaffold outside of the annex building. They have problems with leak, and when we've actually looked into it, there is quite a lot of damage on the roof. Various slates are missing. It looks like some of the sides have been felted and done, but some have been missed, which is where the leak's actually coming in from. There is like a clear hole that you can just see basically. So, but the only thing is to do it. We need to amend the scaffold because at the other side of the building there is literally a sheer drop because of the different heights of the roofs of the buildings. Now our scaffold obviously only goes to there, but needs, I don't know how they're going to do it, but we have someone looking into it and to see what they can do. I'm sure there is a way. It's just obviously it may it'll probably come down to cost, but it's something that we need to do because it is in desperate need of repair. There is some lead missing as well, so there's various things that need addressing.
Is it a double roof, that one? As in like an upside down W?
It goes, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So there's a gutter down middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously the who's done the original scaffolding is coming to relook at it, because we know we need to get on to do quite a lot of repairs. So now we need to make it safe for them to do that. Yeah, I'm not actually sure how they originally did it, unless it was years and so many years ago that it was just one guy on a rope or something where the health and safety didn't matter. I don't know, but yes. But I'm sure there is a way.
Talking of which, the people who were have started taking the scaffolding down there, I wouldn't employ them again.
Over the road.
Yeah, because they blocked the footpath off, but they didn't block enough of the road off so pedestrians could safely walk past.
They also didn't board it high enough because it was climbed on various different occasions.
They were also unbolting them on one level, and then they were literally dropping it down to a guy on level below to catch it when they were taking them down this afternoon.
I think due to the fact that it's emergency, we have Coalition Facilities have been looking into it previously. They did the original investigation. They got the scaffolding up, so and he has told me that he is able to do the work. It's just getting access. So that's he said he would get back to me as soon as he could with how much it was going to cost and what it's going to have to do with the scaffold and how much that's going to cost. We also have another cracked window in the town hall, which is in the old allotments office. So I'm not sure whether we're just going to be able to replace the pane. I think it's, I don't think that's going to work. I think we're going to have to replace the window. So with that in mind, because it is corroding as well. So that's another thing. There's also the one in the committee room that needs doing. Nathan had got a quote for someone to come and do that. I think it's around maybe 4,000, I think, for the whole thing, to install it and fit it, make it, install it and fit it. So yeah.
Mm. Mm.
I think that's how much it was.
But if it's the same moulding, it might not cost 8 to just do, might it? So if you're matching the moulding, so it's got the same moulding on as the other windows.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, it might be cheaper to have both done than have one done now and another one done in 6 months. I don't know.
I'm still waiting for a quote for or the actual the report from the other company that came to look at number 9 Newmarket Street. He couldn't get access the first time he came, but then he said that he would probably forward a report whilst I was away, but I haven't actually had anything, so I need to chase that up to find out if they obviously what they think needs doing and how much they think it's going to cost. We also have, there's another leak sprung up in number 9 Newmarket Street, I think. So we need to look at that as well. It's all building related at the moment. Bad time of year as well.
For the budget survey, we've got some contingencies in place of like those properties and also town.
Yeah, the only thing is with the town hall repairs and maintenance, that was counteracting the income we were going to get from the loan. So obviously we haven't got the loan, so any additional spend that we, even though it's still within that budget that's there, it will take us over budget. So we do need to obviously but then again, if it's building related and it's leaks and things, it just needs doing.
It's got to be done.
You have to do it, don't you? So
Can't leave it.
no. The clock. We are still waiting for the contractors on another job at the moment. And has said he will be with us as soon as he can be. But I haven't had a chance to chase him since I came back off leave. So I will do that.
Right. Is that it for town hall maintenance?
I'm just trying to think. I think so. There's anything else? No, I think that's
Can we move on then? Item 11, items for a future month's agenda. Well, I think the bulk of it is going to be finalising the tenders and
budget.
whatever else comes along that has to be done at that time. And if anything else crops up, let Gina know, and we'll try and have it put on agenda. The date and time of the next meeting is the 6th of December. Well, it was, or still might be, but the main meeting is going to be on the 13th now. Yeah. So moving on then, exclusion of the public. And we can go to item 13. So can we switch off the live feed?